today in this video we're going to learn how to build this nice onboarding screen for your React Native app, and I'm going to show you how to create this UI and along with the user flow control, because we all know that onboarding screen will be loaded only once at a time, not every time whenever we are opening the app. So we need that user control flow too. So I'm going to show you how to build that user control flow and along with this nice UI completely from the scratch. So let me explain what exactly we're going to build in this video. In this video, we're going to build this nice UI that's practically our onboarding screen. You can see that it supports this gesture. We can scroll left and right, back and forth, and you can see that it's having the nice screen indication. Whenever I'm moving back and forth, you can see that the screen indication it's moving. And along with that, we have these two different buttons which helps me to move forward. And if I want to skip this onboarding screen directly to my home screen, that will also possible. If I click this skip, that will directly take to the home screen. Now if I reload this, that will bring back the onboarding screen to it's happening because I just disabled that options to show you what exactly we are going to build. So let me move to the next. Once the final is done, now it's come back to the home screen. If I reload it again, it's gonna load that same onboarding screen. So let me enable that option so that you can see that what exactly. If I enable that option, see that once I enable that state value, you can see that now even though if I reload it, it will not take you to the onboarding screen because of the user control flow. It will be loaded only once at a time. Even though if I close this app, and if I'm opening it, that will directly take you to the home screen. Just a moment. Here we go. So this is what we're going to do in this entire video. So I hope you guys are excited. So without wasting your time, let's get started. All right, then create a new project folder as you wish. I already created a new project folder called Onboarding Screen YouTube, and then I'm going to open it in the Visual Studio Code. Here we go. Okay, so I'm going to use the Expo CLI. If you want to install the Expo CLI, run the command called npm install -g expo CLI. So that will install the Expo CLI in your machine globally so that you can access that command by using Expo in it. Okay, to make sure whether the Expo is already successfully installed or not, run the command called expo --- version. So that will gives you the version number of your Expo. Okay, so now let's create the project. So Expo initialize init. I'm going to initialize the project in my current project folder. So /. So create it. So that will create the Expo project, initialize the Expo project, and we are going to use the blank project only. So click blank. So that will start download all the necessary files and packages which is needed for our Expo React Native app. So please be patient until it gets successfully done, and once it's done, we'll get started. All right, so here my project is successfully downloaded. So okay, so if you want to use your Android emulator, you can use it, or you want to run your web, you can use your web, or if you want to work with your iOS, so you can use your iOS. So let me start my project. So yarn start. Okay, so that will gives you a bunch of options, so where you can run on all those things. If you want to run this in your mobile screen, if you don't have that much configured laptop, you can use your mobile phone to use mobile phone as a simulator. Just download Expo Go. Just download this. Just download this option. Just download this Expo Go app in your mobile, Expo Go, and then you can use this. Scan this code through that app so that you can see the live preview in your mobile app itself. In this case, I'm going to open this app with my iOS simulator. So let me open it. Let me keep it side screen, and let me keep this in my second screen. There we go. And where is my app? Let me bring my simulator over here. There we go. So reload it. Okay, so let me reload it. It's taking time. Yep, here we go. So now initially for the first time it will take some time to create a bundle and load your project and everything. So because the first boot up will be a little bit slow, after that it's fine. The rest, whenever you're refreshing the changes, it will be loaded immediately. Here we go. So our app is successfully built and it's loaded successfully. Okay, so the next step is what we need to do is we need to install the React navigation, because that helps us to navigate from one screen to another. Okay, so let me show you what exact package we need to install. Okay, so we need to install, search for, so go open up your browser and search for React navigation. Search for React navigation. You can find the very first website, so click that and then click this read docs. So if you scroll down, you can see that you can read all these documentations and all those things. Otherwise, straightly jump to the installation, click the on and click copy. Go back here, open up your terminal and create a new terminal and paste that command. Then go back here and we need to install this also. If you scroll down, you can see for the yarn, exact same thing, React Native Screens and React Native Save Context, copy it. And we need to install those two packages also. And if you scroll down, so please, if you're using this for the first time, please take your time and go through all these documentations line by line. So it really helps you to understand it much better. Okay, so I'm not using the React Native CLI. If you're using React Native CLI, then you need to link this and then you need to run this command to make changes of your packages in your React Native. In this case, we are using Expo, so we can simply skip all these lines. And at the end, you can see how exactly you need to use the navigation container and all those things. So let's get back to the sample example. So click here, hello, React navigation. If you scroll down, you can see that we need the stack, React Native stack. So click copy it. So we need that stack library to work with our React Native different screens. So let's install the native stacks. So that done, installation is done. And here we go. This is how you need to, these are the two important packages we need to import. Okay, so let's go back here. Let me close that. And here I don't need this because anyway we are going to use the Tailwind CSS. I will show you how to configure the Tailwind CSS also. Okay, so then what we need to do is, so we don't need any of these things. Let us delete it. And here we need these two packages. Let's import that two different packages. All right, so then what we need to do is, we don't need this unused package. Let's delete that. And then here we need to create a stack object. Copy this and let's paste it here. So we have our stack object and copy these stuffs, copy it and paste it here. So navigation container, which is coming from React Navigation Native, and stack navigator, that's the object which we created. And this is the stack screen, which is going to be the name of home, and it's going to load the home screen component, which we don't have yet. So initially it's not going to load the home screen. This is going to be onboarding screen, which we need to create. Let me copy this name and give it. So this name attribute is really important because that's the name attribute we're going to use to navigate from one screen to another. So let's create a new folder in the root directory as components. And we need one more folder called screens. Okay, so these two folders, because in case we are working with a very big project, we have a multiple components inside the same screen itself, so we need to maintain those things in the components. And this is for screens, for each and every different screens. So let me create a new screen inside in exactly the same name as this. Let me copy this name and let me create a new file over here on screen.jsx. and we need to use the RNFE, that means a React Native function export component for your React Native. If you don't know what exactly it is, so you just need to install an extension. Go to the extension tab over here and search for ES6 snippets. If you search for JavaScript ES6 snippets, this one, React Redux ES6 snippets. Wait a second, not that one. Where it is? Okay, just a moment. Where it is? React snippets. Search for React snippets. Search for React snippets, and here we go. This is the one. ES7 plus React Redux React Native snippets. This is the one. So you need to install those extensions to run that command. Just you need to run RNFE. So that will create a React Native functional component. So save this, and we're gonna import this package over here. So let me import it. So that will import that from your screens. Okay, so in future you might have multiple screens. So in that case, what you need to do, then it will create every time it will import, so that in case, let's say that you're having a 10 different screens, so that will have a 10 different import statements. So that's not a very good idea to that's not a very good approach for our screens. So what we need to do is, so let's create an index.js file, index.js, and I'm going to export that app from here. Export default as onboarding screen from /onboarding screen. All right, so now let me delete this, and now if I import it, so that will load as an object from the screens. Okay, now if I'm creating one more file, let's say I'll create one more file, and let me give that as a home.jsx, and here RNFE, save it, and in the index file we need to add that one also. So here let's say export default as home from /home. And now let's import that screen to copy it, and let me change this to home, and look at that, that will be imported in the same line itself instead of importing as a separate import statement. So that's the reason we manually created a separate this option, separate index file to manage your import statements. Okay, so here now what we can see, you can see that it's having this onboarding screen, and it's having this nice header options and everything. Okay, so I'll show you how to customize these header options and everything. All right, so to customize that header, what we need to do is we need to add some options for your screen options. We need to enable these screen options and everything. Okay, so then what we need to do is we need to install the Tailwind CSS for our customizations. So let's go here, open up your browser and search for React Native Tailwind CSS. So click the Tailwind React Native, click that npm package, because that's the exact npm package we're going to use. If you scroll down, you can see that the configurations and the way of how to configure the React Native Tailwind CSS with your app and everything. So we already created the React Native app, so don't need to that. We just need to install the dependencies. So let's copy this yarn, copy it, and get back to your project terminal here. So paste it, and let's copy the second one, copy this. It's installed. All right, then paste it here, so that will install. Okay, so then what we need to do is we need to initialize our Tailwind. So copy this and just run yarn Tailwind init. So that will create this Tailwind config.js. Here we go. So now we have our Tailwind config.js. So then what we need to do is we need to update this content area. So we need to give the exact locations, what are the files need to be monitored and everything. Okay, so we need to monitor all those files which needs to be constantly checked. So let me copy this app I'll copy this app and then I'll just paste it inside this content folder. All right then, so we are not going to check only the app, we're going to check all the screens folders, components folders, and all those things. So that's an extra line of either you can able to type it by yourself, or else what you can do is just scroll up a little bit. You can see this link, click it, and then if you scroll and if you in the left side menu option, you can see the Babel configuration. So click the Babel configuration, and that you can find this all the screens, pages, components, and everything. Just copy this line and then paste it right after here. All right, so let's get back to the previous configuration. Scroll it down a little bit, and this is the place where we are. Okay, so we added the content and now we need to add the plugins. So copy this plugin informations and then paste it inside your Babel configuration. So click here, go to your babel config.js. So click here. Okay, save the changes. So then what we need to do is scroll down. All we have to do is to just import this Tailwind provider, which will share the functionalities throughout our screens. So let's import that package, import it, Tailwind provider, and all we have to do is to wrap this entire navigation container inside the Tailwind provider. So let me bring this navigation container inside the Tailwind provider, save the changes. All right then. So now if you run the you have to install one more extension that is called Tailwind CSS. Search for Tailwind CSS. So that will provide you the Tailwind IntelliSense. Search for that. So you can see the Tailwind IntelliSense over here. So please go ahead and install that. So that will help you to write the Tailwind CSS much easier and in a faster way. All right, so we are done with our installations and configurations. So let me check whether it is working perfectly or not. Let's make sure whether our Tailwind configuration is working perfectly. So we updated the content file perfectly inside the double quotes, inside the array. Oops. So where it is, here it is, just a moment. Yeah, here it is, inside the double quotes, comma, and everything is configured perfectly, right? So let's go back to the onboarding screen over here, and I'm just going to give some color changes. So class name equals, here I'm just going to say text blue 600, and I'm just going to say text 3x. Let's save the changes. All right, it's not loading, so let's try to reload it. Let's try to reload it. It's not reloading. Wait a second. Let me reload it. Reload. Still it's not changing. Detected a changes in the, okay, so we need to restart our server. My bad. Let me restart the server. Yarn start. So it will rebuild that entire project. Let me open our iOS simulator one more time. So let's close this and let's open it one more time. It's loading. Whenever you're making any changes in your Babel configurations or anything, you just need to close the server and restart the server. I think the Tailwind configuration is not working properly. Still it's not showing changes. We just need to check the folder name. Screens. Okay. Tailwind. Here also screens. All right. Everything is fine. Then why it's not loading? Onboarding screen. Class name. What exact mistake we are making? No, class name N is the small letter only, so that's not a mistake. Something is not working properly. mistake I made. Tailwind provider, we added the Tailwind provider. Then Tailwind provider is added. And the Babel configuration is also added. Babel configuration is also added, yes. Then Tailwind, in that Tailwind configuration is also we add a Tailwind configuration, module.export, app, screen, pages, everything is added. Then why it's not working? Why? What is the mistake we made? Close this, onboarding screen. Let's try this one. Class name is equals flex1, item center, justify center. Here we go, it's working. My bad, I just reloaded it one more time and it started working.